Now, my exhibition is titled Imaginarium by Sizeka. Sizeka is my artist name. Um, my opening reception is going to also be it's Imaginarium characters and personalities. And there's a good reason it's called that. You can kind of see from this image here with these different characters. My work is typically this new series I'm working on is watercolor and acrylic combined on usually wood recently. I've been using wood as kind of my canvas recently. Um, I had a lot of watercolors I wasn't showing to anybody, and sometimes I would just sell them just as a sheet of paper. Um, but I decided that I wanted to do something larger for them. I do a lot of random characters. Um, in this description that I have for this event, it says stepping into the world of passing of time. But to be clear though, none of these characters that are actually in any of the works are actual main characters that I have actually written about. These are all just characters I've randomly drew just impulsively and watercolored. So you're not gonna see like any of my main characters in this work. Those are all saved to the side. All my watercolors of those. Maybe for a future project, if I get brave enough to dismantle those, which is going to be a lot harder for me because those characters are a lot more personal. But in this show, I'm wanting to dive into character creation and creating something from yourself through originality. Um, I will be having people, if they want, there will be a box. There will be a box in the room. And in this box, you will put, you can fill out, you don't have to if you don't want to, if you want to come see my show, an original character maker sheet right here that I made. So you can fill out a form and kind of just create a character. I have questions to kind of ask you about the appearances. A lot of it's going to be appearances, but I also want to know about their personality. And I want to know a little bit about their background, just a little summary of their lives, maybe. And you can even, I have a sample that you'll be able to see where I wrote out a character. I got this guy, Xander Favgar. He's a youngish 20s and he's got choppy black hair. And he's a little loud and pompous, kind of mean sometimes. I wrote that his style, he wears modern like clothes, kind of black and green a lot. He's tall and he has elf ears. He's a profession, he's a shady car salesman. He has interests in gambling and playing poker. His skin's light blue, he has freckles, he has green eyes, and he has a tattoo on his back of a snake. He grew up in a rough neighborhood and didn't get the best education. His uncle gave him a job at his used car dealership. He has a few friends he gambles with on the weekends, and he always seems to have different romantic partners. So I have the sheet, and also, I also ask for your contact, either email or phone number. I'm fine with either. And then I ask you if you're okay with me drawing this character and putting it on any of my art. And I would credit you on the back of that art piece saying, hey, this person did come up with the concept for this character. And I also put on, you can write more things on the sides or on the back if you wanted to just be as detailed as you want. The sheets are really just, here for whatever you want. Anything you want to put on it, anything you can fit. And everybody can put it into the box. And then at the end of the exhibition, I will take all of those and the ones that want me to, any of them really. Even if you didn't want me to put it on my art or use it in my art, I may draw it and still send you a picture of it and say, Here's the art piece. Here's the character that you concepted and you created from your own self. Now, I will be clear though, guys. If you write a character and it is basically just a character that someone else created, I will not be drawing that character, and I will not because you're not doing the work. You're not creating something from yourself. So that's just going to be part of it. Now, the interview I'm about to let you guys see is with me and my husband, who has been kind of the colleague of mine in writing our Passing of Time universe, and a colleague of mine in inspiring me for a lot of characters and a lot of stories that we've written over the years, and a lot of my art is inspired by that. So he was the best person I could think to interview me besides me interviewing myself. All right. Now, you guys enjoy. I will be having a commercial break or two during this interview, so bear with me during those times. All right. You guys enjoy.
Hello, this is Architects Artistry, where we explore the arts in our area. I'm Ryan Hazelton, and today's guest is the true host of the show, who has an upcoming exhibition at the Bossier Arts Council. Guest, could you please introduce yourself?
Hello, I'm Brittney Hazelton, the artist that is the host of Architects Artistry. Hi, Ryan.
Hello. Now that you've introduced yourself, let's talk immediately about the exhibition that was discussed. What is this exhibition about? When and where is it going to be held? And what other details can you tell us about it?
Okay, so the exhibition's main title is Imaginative by Sizeka, and it's going to be a series of exhibitions. This first one is going to focus primarily on characters and personalities.
Ah, very nice. And is there any specific parts of characters and personality you're hoping to capture with the audience when you're there?
Well, the main purpose of the exhibition that's going to be held at Bossier Arts Council,
Of course.
is basically to inspire the original creation of characters and in design and in personalities and writing, and both in writing and visual arts. I want to show people that we can create things of our own, that we don't have to create we don't have to just live in other people's designs.
Right.
You know what I mean? We can write our own worlds, write our own concepts, whether that be in our own stories. Instead of making fan fiction, why not write your own?
Right.
Create your own thing.
The ability to comfortably branch your own imagination without always having to dip into the brush of somebody else's paints. So
it's why it's called Imaginarium.
Exactly.
Because I want you to imagine something for yourself, and I do that in my work at the show, which is going to be, again, Bossier Arts Council, and it's going to the show technically starts September 30th, and it will hang till November 19th. But nice. The opening reception, where you get to meet me, get to meet you because you'll be there, and other artists and other art lovers, is going to be October 2nd at 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Nice.
Well, I definitely should be there.
Yeah, I will hope.
If I'm not, the world will know.
Yeah, that would be...
So in the works that you do, what is some of your primary mediums, or is there specific mediums that you specifically feel you gravitate more towards than others? Because I do know you're a very disciplined artist in the many forms that you know.
Yeah, I mixed media, multimedia. I do a lot.
Shock and surprise.
A lot of writing, both in journalism, and not even though that's not really the creative field, but also fiction, sci-fi. I think, primarily this is my visual arts, which, again, I do a lot of visual arts. That includes like wood burning, epoxy clay sculpting, photography even. But this is primarily focused on my acrylic painting and watercolor painting series.
Nice. Which, of course, I've seen you grow your skills in that for years and years and years.
They're my primary
I've seen
things,
you
really.
learn that even though when you get comfortable in parts of what you're doing well, that it's like, okay, now it's time for the unfun part where I have to challenge myself to get better. And while the grind getting there may not be as fun, the results afterwards are always amazing to see, I would say.
Thank you.
Of course, of course.
Yeah, yeah, watercolor and acrylic really are my favorite things. I did do a lot of digital arts too, but there's nothing quite like physical, tactile mediums. So that's why I gravitate to those in my visual art.
There you go.
Um,
Well, as you and I have definitely lived together, and you've had me dabble in some of the different mediums, I tried wood burning and things like that.
Oh, yeah.
I think what really helped with it, and whether you realize it or not, one of the things that helped was that you went into each project without fear. Knowing that this was like my first time doing a wood burning or my first time doing, whatever type of paints, it was always just like, it doesn't matter how you get it wrong, but dang it if you're not going to try your hardest while you're doing it to make something good. And I think that's a good approach for new artists in any kind of medium, is to accept that it's like, you are not going to be the grandmaster on your first try, but dang it, if you don't give it all your best on your first try, how can you say you really experienced it?
well, that's the thing about it. Like, as a mixed medium artist, like, I just love trying new things. I think that's part of why there's no fear in it. And I could be like, hey, Ryan, I want to do art with you. You're my husband. We like to do a lot of projects together. We do everything together, basically.
Absolutely. I remember we had a day where somebody was like, hey, we're just getting together and painting and stuff, and I wasn't sure what to do, but then I saw this wooden circular block that I was like, flipping it with my fingers, and I was like, you know what, this makes a good heads and tails coin, so I'm just going to draw a goofy looking head and a bunch of animal tails on the other side, and now I use it in my D&D campaigns for my D2.
Jumped into it?
Yeah, it was like there's nothing to lose. If people don't like it, that doesn't matter. It still serves its purpose as a head and tails coin, so very low stakes, but all the rewards of seeing, hey, what did I create?
Yeah, and that's the thing too, as long as I'm like, hey, Ryan, here, take this wood burner, don't touch this part. It will burn you.
And of course,
that's the fear you probably should have
yes.
in some mediums.
And of course, at least once I will touch it, if not by accident, definitely by choice of what does the science say.
I think all artists always, especially when you're working with dangerous mediums, there's always something you're going to get. Either whether it's a little burn, a little prick, there's always going to be
something
that.
to humble you. That it's like you are the creator, but you are still at the behest of the tool. So
safety and stuff. There's always mistakes when you're diving into it.
To speak more on, we discussed the title of your show, the Imaginarium. Go into a little bit more on that. What would you describe as an Imaginarium for us?
Well, for me and you especially. Mm-hmm. We do a lot of world building, right? And when I think of Imaginarium as a word, it's a off like shoot of a race that I made in our world of species called the Imaginations.
Yeah.
Well, Imaginarium, Imaginations, it all revolves around the imagination. Even the race itself, we're born from the imagination of gods, right? So when I think of Imaginariums, like if you were a god in the situation, and you were to imagine up a character, that would be your imaginations, right?
It's almost sort of like the clouds in space that create these perfect situations to create stars. It's kind of it's
a birthing
mystically
place.
Scientific. We can't quickly or simply explain it, but it happens and
it's
it
a
exists.
Birthplace,
and so the same thing with imagination sort of occurs because
our minds
it is,
are our birthplace for these creations.
Exactly.
And
so
everybody's capable of it. Yeah. And that's kind of what I want to capture in my show. People will not only get to see the creations that I create, most of which I create with a pen.
Yeah.
I don't even use pencil. Some of these I will just draw them on paper, then watercolor them and cut them out. And that's kind of, and then put them in the work. And that's kind of what I want to influence people to do. I'm going to have a box at the exhibition and a little form that I want people to fill out. Give me their email or their number.
Yeah.
And fill out details and create a character on the spot. I want them to come up with how the character looks, give me a little insight on their personality. They can write as much detail as they want
Yeah.
and put it in that box. And I plan to like take from that box occasionally
Exactly.
and just create that character and put it in my work. And then I'm going to send them the picture of this character and I'm going to give them a notation on the back of the
Yeah.
art that it's on and be like, hey, here you are. Here's your creation. You know,
And again,
you
that goes back
created
to
that.
the low stakes for creation's sake, that you don't have to worry too much about it. You know, people can definitely take that leap in such an easy way by
Just
kind
writing
of
it
doing
down.
that. Which, you know,
Yeah.
it's tough for me to act surprised because we've discussed this already. But, you know,
Oh, yeah.
I liked, when you originally pitched me the idea, I really liked it because it is just like, you know, it's not just people coming to see your stuff. They can be part of a process, so to speak, where it's like in your case, and Bossier Arts Council, so to speak, when I say we, y'all really promote the idea that, like, the imagination can be understood. Chong, with her recent exhibition, was able to basically get black lights for all of her things,
Oh,
took
yeah.
tape and painted the floor. And, you know, that's not a traditional sort of gallery kind of setup. But, of course, Bossier Arts Council
But
was just
it
like,
made it a
that
unique
sounds incredible,
experience,
let's do it.
though.
And
Yeah.
it was such a unique experience. I'll never forget that flooring, just how it really
Oh, yeah.
popped.
The
It almost was
taping
like
was
the entire
great.
room wasn't itself a canvas almost. I
It really
liked that.
was. And
So I think that's
the
kind
beauty of it.
yeah, that's something that you're kind of bringing with your Imaginarium, that the possibility of creating characters that will later come to life
Oh, yeah.
is, again, just an extension of creativity and action. I think that's going to be really cool.
Yes, thank you. I mean, that's the thing about gallery exhibitions. It's really on the artist to create the experience, right?
Yeah.
You know, gallery, a lot of artists I feel like a lot of artists submit their work and they just put it on a wall and they leave it at that.
Yeah.
But, you know, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, but
You know, if you just want your art to stand on its own, but maybe if you're sending a message or you're trying to make an experience more of an experience than just I'm here to see the art. And, you know, you kind of gotta think outside the box.
yeah,
And
absolutely.
that's kind of what Chong did with her exhibition. You
Yeah.
know, and I feel like a lot more exhibitions are taking those experiences. I remember a show that I went to. It was at the Meadows Museum with Steve Lewowski and Michael Futrell.
Right.
And they both took this alien style art that Steve made.
It was this unreal kind of design and aura to it all to the tune of Twang Darkly in the background, who creates his own instruments to
Oh, yeah.
create different sounds, which already has some otherworldly properties to
actually-
it. And the whole thing was just, your mind couldn't help but be almost transported
Oh,
to
yeah.
another world, just enjoying the moments of the art and sound combined. I
Yeah,
get what you mean.
he told me actually that he would play music, look at the art, and play music that he felt, because he described
Spoke
his
to
art
it,
as
yeah.
rural space music.
Yeah,
and it
yeah,
really kind of
which, I
sounds like that,
It
and
does.
it was
It's
perfectly
very
matched.
otherworldly. Yeah,
Like-
and went great with
Oh,
Steve.
yeah.
Yeah. So I think it definitely kind of capturing that within yours. I was going to say, one of the parts of it that we know is a lot of characters
Oh, yeah.
are in the art that you will be displaying.
Oh, yeah.
Is there any comments or what about the characters draws you to bring them out so much? I guess tell us about the characters you make.
Okay, so every time I'm creating a character, I'm kind of imagining what they're like, what are the details of their existence. I'm creating them not just in visuals, but you know, I'm trying to capture their personality in the visuals. I'm trying to capture like what maybe the mystery about their background, and it gets I want to get the person wondering like, what is this character? Yeah, and obviously like a lot of my art has a lot of characters in it, right?
Of course.
So like there's multiple stories on every one. So like this one, for example, we have several different people, right? There's this guy over here listening to his headset. You might wonder like, what does he listen to? He's obviously probably a music lover. Maybe he's producing music himself. I have this woman here. And she has vibrant hair. Maybe she's a dancer.
Yeah,
You
almost
know?
seems like it is flowing outwardly as if there is some sort of like gravitational wind, what have you, something
Oh yeah.
definitely making it flow.
Oh yeah.
And
So,
then surrounded by eyes, as we had discussed before.
oh yeah, I do a
Oh,
lot of
I'm sorry, we
eyes.
haven't discussed the eyes yet. My apologies. Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Characters
we
and
personally have.
Characters and, yes. It's hard to keep track of what we've already discussed here. No, characters and eyes, as we see, is definitely big themes to that. The characters, of course, being sort of the moments in time, the individuals, those captures of a soul that you want to render. And then what about eyes?
So
in your
eyes, I
opinion?
feel like
Talk on those.
I love eyes.
Of
I know
course,
I do a lot of eyes in
I
my
can
work.
tell.
I have an entire series of just eyes. Some of them will be at this exhibition. So I got this new series, which the one you just saw is part of the new series that I'm doing, which is the experimentation of me creating watercolor illustrations or taking my watercolor illustrations and putting them in onto acrylic paintings. But the eyes themselves, I feel like every eye, you look into the eye of someone and just the general area of the eye, and you can see a lot.
Hmm.
It's like, I hate to be corny about it, but it's the window of the soul.
It
right?
is. Yeah.
And you look at someone's eye, and you can kind of think about how they're feeling in that moment, what their personality may be like.
Oh, yeah.
Especially if you include the eyebrow as well, what their mood is.
Absolutely.
The eyes capture a lot.
It does, and especially because you and I have studied a lot of psychological stuff, both for our own sake and for just the understanding sake of psychology and just how much it affects
Yeah.
life itself. Eyes definitely are tells to psychological feelings.
You can tell when
behaviors,
someone's
things like-
angry.
Oh yeah,
just by their
somebody.
eyes.
Yeah, I was gonna say somebody with a crazed look in their eyes. It's like is
You
my
see
words,
the detachment.
yeah, does my words reach you, or are we beyond reason? It's you see the pain in somebody's eyes if they're bawling hysterically because of a pain or things
Yeah.
like that. There's a lot to be told in those.
And
Definitely.
it goes with the theme, characters and the personalities that I'm trying to show. It's like when you're creating characters, you're not just creating or concepting the visual form of them. You have to consider their emotions, their moods, their personality, their
Of course,
traits.
yeah.
Things that we may consider flaws are just part of their character, and all of those things, also describe the, person's being.
Yeah.
And that goes in with the design of what they may look like in their eyes.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's very easy to tell a kind of heroic character with kind of bright eyes open, but the sly character that's a bit more roguish has a little bit of you can tell a scowls on their face just by the look in the eyes. A sort of confused person with one raised, a lot of stuff like that. So, and of course, you
That goes with
naturally
expression, yeah.
you kind of go with the expressions of that. You've studied a lot on eyes.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, definitely don't have a character actor at home to help you.
Oh
get
yeah,
different
you,
expressions. Definitely not.
yeah. If our viewers don't know, you actually did a lot of theater in
I
in
did.
college, a little bit in college too.
A little bit in college back in, oh goodness, what was it, 18 years ago?
You're
Yeah,
quite a voice
so-
actor, and actually a great singer, and drummer, and photographer. So you yourself are also kind of a
Well, thank you.
multi-disciplinary artist.
But it's not my interview today. Good try, though. So,
Well,
next...
no. Getting to that though, a lot of our work together influences my visual art.
True.
Honestly,
Yes.
because the entire reason I did pick up visual arts again was because of our writing.
True. Which
know.
we'll get more into that since, I got a few other questions to ask
Okay.
before we get to that. Mostly going back to, since we've discussed characters and eyes being a kind of focus that we will definitely see in your exhibition, what are you hoping for viewers to kind of experience when going to your exhibition? You spoke on that some, but, in your hopes, what are you expecting people to feel, experience,
Well,
take from it?
I want them to kind of experience for themselves. Like, I may have a concept of what I intended with art. But I also learned that I like when people kind of build their own narrative about a character. Like, maybe my concept of a character when I drew it is something completely different, but I kind
Exactly.
of want people to look at it and let their imagination take hold.
Yeah.
What do they think it means?
Yeah.
What do they think the whole piece means? What do they think all the little things I put
Yeah.
into the work means? Find the secrets, because some of my work has secrets in it.
Yeah, no doubt.
You'll find little messages or little things like
Which I've gotten
you
good
gotta
at.
pay close attention to
Yeah,
find.
I've gotten good at the Where's Waldo for that. But yes, some folks will be in for a treat if they do find some things.
Just look
really
close.
looking for that.
Look close.
I was going to say, and even going back to eyes and what you were talking about, the perception, of course, of sight, if we take into account that, what I see and what I experience with my own eyes will always be different from
yeah.
other people because
we
not
are
just what I see, but how I process it, what my brain processes from seeing it. I would never experience life in the same way that somebody with color blindness could be, even if that's just some general colors that change or just being straight black and white for vision, for instance.
Well,
So,
that goes with
yeah.
that goes with the whole concept, like as I was saying, in building our own world in both characters and in like planets and things even. You're kind of your own god. And that's the thing about writing when you're creating fiction.
Mm-hmm.
You are kind of the god of the world, and you're kind of the god of the art itself. So whatever you're creating or you're imagining, whether it's just filling out a form like I'm going to have people do, filling out a form, you're creating the character right there in
True.
that space. And it is your vision. That's why I want you to give me those details, because I can only create your vision if you give me the details.
Exactly.
Right?
The power of creation is wild because, again, while you are writing down that specific character for that specific scenario at that Imaginarium Bossier Arts Council exhibition, there will be no one else in the world who creates such a thing.
Oh yeah, but here's another
again,
thing about
yeah.
it, though, as well. It's also an experiment in collaboration.
True. Yes.
Because you may not be an artist normally, but when you do that, you're becoming an artist in that moment.
Yes, you are creating, whether
Yeah.
you
And
realize it or not.
I'm just your collaborator, right? All right, guys, here's a short commercial break I was telling you about, and then we'll get right back to this interview. I hope you guys are enjoying it.
I mean, D&D characters start as simple as here's your name, here's some numbers that accompany what your general life skills would be, and here might be a small bit of background to who you are. And somebody says, okay, I will encompass this character and bring them some life in whatever story we're in, and that's kind of close to what you would be doing essentially. And again, what those that would be filling in the cards for that.
Yeah,
would be
I
doing as
really
well.
hope that, when like I am going to let people know, it's like, yeah, I'm going to create it, and you are going to get some kind of copy of it so that you can have it and say, like, here's my collaboration I did with Brittney.
Yeah.
I wrote the character down. She did it for. It's not basically a free commission, but I get to keep the actual one. No offense,
Well, I mean,
they'll be fine. They'll be.
That's
fine.
I'm assuming.
But
Okay.
they do get notation on my work.
Yeah, they'll if that character comes into fruition for whatever means necessary. I know you will let people know. It's like, oh yeah, this was a collaborative effort created by so and so,
By these people that are on this piece.
Yeah, because I mean, that's I remember back in the day you used to do art swaps with people. Just if it was like, well, money's tight on both ends. It's like, well, I love your art, you love my art. We trade that kind of
Well,
stuff. And
honestly,
that sometimes is even just the start of collaboration, just because it's like, well,
I wouldn't say that's collaboration, but
not quite,
that is
but
how
I have
artists.
noticed-
That is how artists collect.
Yes,
Because sometimes, we want to own art too.
yes,
But being an artist is not always a financially
I just
easy thing, right?
I refer to, I think it was Ryan that you did a trade with, and then eventually, maybe I'm remembering it wrong, but I was going to say, I was speaking in collaboration to that because I remembered I want to say there was one or two that when you did the art trades, discussions were had for collaboration stuff with that as well, that it was,
Oh yeah.
the respect of the art and stuff opened the conversation to
I
that,
mean,
I guess
yeah.
is what I meant.
I mean, they're very much two different conversations, but
Yeah.
collaboration is definitely a conversation. Especially when you have two styles that you don't know what the result might be.
Oh, absolutely.
But it could obviously it's gonna be something unique. Especially when you get very different styles, but you can create something together. But yeah.
Let's ask this then. Going back to the very beginning, how did you start as an artist?
So, people that have watched this probably kind of have an idea that obviously I started when I was very young. When I was young, some of the youngest years I can remember, single digits, very low single digits. I always had kind of imaginary friends. I always kind of lived in my own little world. Like you, I had Beanie Babies, and I made stories with them.
Yes.
Except it was like the Beanie Babies, and then I had a whole bunch of dinosaurs, and my dinosaurs were the villains.
Yes.
And they were kind of the other faction, but they also had stories and weren't always the villain, right?
True.
They had their own personality. I built these things kind of like I do today with our writing that we do, And I started doing art in probably before first grade, honestly. But first grade is where I remember doing it the most, because I had my first experiences in school where people liked my art because I was creating. First, I was drawing animals, and then when I got into Pokemon, I started creating my own versions of Pokemon.
Nice, nice. Yeah.
Like I had these mystical dogs who are different elements, and they had their owners who were their companions and friends.
Again, I'm not sure if I have to act surprised because I know all this.
Yeah,
so.
you do. You don't have to. I stopped doing art for a little bit in probably middle school because I felt like judged I guess, a
I
lot.
mean, that will happen definitely in those ages.
You know,
It's
people thought it was childish that I was making up animals or creatures.
of course because that's
That's how
unfortunately
you
how it goes in high school, junior high. Sometimes it's
that's how you stifle
that's how
people
you.
from
Yep,
continuing,
yep. That's how you
you
can
know?
unfortunately kill creativity. Is you put it in a negative light and you
Or
have no
you
reinforcement to change its
yeah.
view. Yeah.
Someone that is not an artist laughs at you because
Hmm.
you're creating weird things and they're
On the
just like, "Oh,
opposite,
that's funny." But
yeah,
is it funny to the artist? No, because they have a passion for what they're doing,
right,
right?
and that's
And
being
even as a
stifled.
kid, you should encourage the creation,
Exactly.
right?
Because
And
it's going
then
to lead to other critical skills and stuff that use your mind and definitely for education and just for growth in general, having your mind activated, stimulated, moving about, considering a lot of things. It's an unlimited growth
yeah.
possibility in some things for how much your mind can expand. I mean, I can't speak to the exact measurements on it, but again, as you and I know, we've got worlds in our heads that we can
Well,
pull off the top of
a-
our head for
as
any
you
information.
know, when I was 13 or so, I started doing role playing online.
Yes.
I hosted a back when Yahoo chats were a thing. Um, the craziness those were. Um, Back when Yahoo chats were a thing, I was 13. And you could create your own chat room. I created the Moonlight Tavern, and I held that every day for probably a year. And
Which, to explain, that was essentially ran as a almost paragraph based role play open chat. The idea being
yeah.
that people could bring in paragraphs
Oh
of
yeah.
what their character
Well,
was
honestly,
doing and
even
then
then though,
reacting to
it
that
wasn't always
as they played
paragraphs
through.
because
Yeah, maybe not paragraph.
you had
That's
different
definitely what we
type
had.
of role players that would
True.
come in. But I always hosted as the tavern owner.
Yeah, so you were always paragraphing.
And
You kind of had to.
she was a vampire, but she was this woman of elegance and beauty. She was very soft spoken and nice, despite being vampiric
Yeah.
in the actual first concept of my main character. And that's actually where I got my artist name, Sizica. Is
Cool.
her name is Sizica, and it's not that I really feel like I am her, but she is definitely my femininity that
Yeah.
I would that I most love.
Yeah, the attachment to that
Yeah.
creativity definitely reflects the art that you create as well, I would say, for the values that you put on that character. I know you and I have talked blue in the face about it, but I know that that character really symbolized with you the creation of everything that came after that.
Well,
So,
what the thing was, I started creating things for these people, and I was narrating stories for them and creating storylines for them. And eventually I met you, and you actually joined me in writing. You and there was
yes.
one other person that did as well.
Yeah,
Um,
I know. But for a
but
lot of
you
times it
joined
was you.
me.
Yeah, it was you kind of playing perma DM and being kind of set to create the scenarios, the background, the backdrops of the world that it was in, and then
Well, when you came in,
I
we
came
really
in. You
dug
told me it was
into
like, well,
yeah.
we've got a lot of stuff open. And of course, I was a very open imagination guy at the time. You had called me out for Beanie Babies on the, you know, I definitely played action figures in the tub when I was younger, and it was a whole soap opera storyline of things that was taking place. Well, my mom's like, just get out of the bathroom pruning, and it's like, so, but then you told me, it's like, I do this. It's a paragraph form RP. You kind of introduced it to me at the time, so I didn't know it was change style from then. But you told me it was that, and I was like, okay, well, what's the limitations on things? And it was very loose. So I was like, okay, well, this is the kind of character I want to make. This is the kind of setup you would have, the kind of background.
I
It's like,
wanted people
I want
to
to
create.
expand upon it.
I
Yeah, I
wanted people
told
to
you
create.
myself, I want to expand upon it on what they can do. And that was our first collaboration together. Was I kind of worked behind the scenes for a little bit, came back to you maybe a day or two later, and I'm just like, here's the concept. This is kind of the world they come from. This is the kind of background and scenarios that they would put on the world with it. And here's my character who kind of represents those values and will slowly build whatever race goes from there if more people like him show up.
Yeah, we
And-
started developing from there.
Yeah.
We started developing more races and more worlds.
Yeah,
and,
where you-
and we
it's-
really
it's-
dove into, because I
it seemed
I
like
had already written the beginning of the entire universe.
Yeah. At
And
that
then
point,
when you came in,
at that
and
point, it
I
seemed like you
started
were kind
wanting-
of exhausted from having to kind of run
Well,
everything, and it was
yeah.
like, oh, finally, here's somebody that is giving that same collaborative energy to build upon it.
yeah, and
That
I
was-
basically began my art because before I even met you, I was starting to try. I was starting to try drawing the characters because I hadn't done art in a while since throughout middle school, and I was already in high school by the time I was starting this. And I was starting to draw more, so I had to pick up where I had left off, basically. And I started to try drawing people as opposed to just animals.
Yeah.
And then from there, it took me a while because I'm self-taught, completely self-taught in art. A lot of like books, like reading the little how to draw fantasy characters. I started with that kind of book, and then I just kept trying. Eventually, my visual art caught up, and that's why I started doing my visual arts, because I wanted to capture the characters. I wanted to draw and design them.
Yeah,
I didn't want to
scenarios-
just imagine them in my head and them be trapped here forever.
Exactly, yeah. The scenarios that they've existed, the kind of personality they show, you were slowly getting to where you could put those to pen and paper, to digital, to whatever medium you
watercolor
really,
came
whatever
in,
medium
yeah.
you eventually got them to, you started bringing them to life, all from just everything starting in your intense desire to want to give even more life to them.
Just a note, Passing of Time is our universe.
Correct. Yes, I forgot.
And all of the characters, most of the characters, pretty much all of them, that are in the series are not related. Well, they may be races that are in Passing of Time, but none of them are in Passing of Time. Those characters, I have not utilized in any of my work yet. Yes. I have entire Tupperwares full of those characters in Tupperwares that I don't know if I will ever make a series of art out of them, because they are part of that universe.
Of course.
I feel like if I make a series related to that universe, maybe.
Yeah,
which would probably be in the future. After I've experimented more with world building in the Imaginarium series. This is the first series, the first set. I plan to do like other sets, like exploring the creation of planets, exploring the idea of, what is a planet like? Maybe I'll dabble into that later.
Yeah.
Maybe some kind of collaboration with you dealing with literature and visual arts.
Yeah, absolutely.
In how to illustrate ideas like that. But that's going to also be a learning process for me.
Yes, it is, because I was going to say, I don't know how to do it right off, but I am always interested to try to hammer it out as we do to make a process that works well for our creations.
Well, as an artist, though, we are always learning, right?
Of course,
I feel like, as a self-taught artist, especially as a self-taught artist, I'm still learning. Most of the learning I do now, though, is just experimentation. Like, here's two of the recent ones that I wanted to talk about. Adding to experimentation is I'm experimenting with taking the paper off of the canvas a little. And this is very sealed work, you know what I mean? So it's not going to tear easy. So they're very solid pieces. But this is a paper watercolor cutout on top of an acrylic painting on wood panel. That's one example. Another example would be something like this. Now, this isn't even based on characters, because characters can also be creatures, right?
Of course.
Part of this one here is a wood panel with grooves, but I wanted the characters to stand out of that because they are their own dimension.
I was going to say, an octopus that managed to get on top of a hot air balloon definitely constitutes as a character. You don't just have that normally happens. There's something specific this octopus did. I would argue
you see this squid is green screened because it's green.
Oh, I can't see it
You
'cause I can
can't
see
see
it.
it, but everybody else can. But
That poor
he's green.
thing.
He just looks like he's translucent because of the
That
because of
poor
that.
thing. How
But
creepy.
yeah, no, you can see it has grooves in this panel. I really like these shapes. I've been experimenting with the canvas, basically the
Hmm.
canvas, and so like I find these panels with grooves and other things, and yeah, basically they, you know, help create and make it pop. You
Yeah,
know.
absolutely. I remember. I don't remember if it was that one or another one that you had at an exhibition or gallery showing. That every time somebody would come up to it, because they look at it from the front, that it looks like a flat piece. But as you're getting closer, you can't help but turn and look to see if there's 3D elements of it. And excuse me, I always thought that was really cool and loved seeing people naturally want to react to the piece in that way. That it's like I've got to see if there's more to it. So.
All right, guys, here's another short commercial break. I know this is a long one. Don't worry, we'll get right back to the rest of the interview. Bear with me.
Hope that same kind of reaction comes out with those people that show up to your gallery. Um, so let's uh, let's go from that though to some questions more relatable here. The podcast itself. What uh, what prompted you to host, start, and continue working this podcast?
Well, the art community here in Shreveport really kind of gave me purpose. Um, I mean, a lot of the art I started doing when I was younger was escapism. And, you know, that's why I learned art, or that's why I was doing art at the youngest age. And a lot of the art I started to do in high school was also escapism. So I always used it as escapism. I went through a lot when I was younger. We're not going to get into the details, obviously.
Right, right.
But when I learned about the art community here, when Pam told me, the previous executive director told me to get on their directory, and I ended up as a roster artist. Like, I felt like I finally had a purpose. And the community, I met so many great people. And I had the chance when I got this platform here. I got access to this platform, KSLA. really saw how passionate I was about being an artist, and they really said, "Here, start your own podcast, start your own segment." Um, and I just want to give back
Yeah.
to the community, and I feel like the community is such a great community
Oh yeah.
that is just so overlooked.
It is, but again, it's overflowing with all sorts of different
It
artists.
is.
As I've told to many people before, the thing about Shreveport, Bossier, Arklatex artists in general is that despite the abundance of artists that are available, the various crafts and what have you, there doesn't seem to be like a certain pattern to the artist that it's like, oh, you've got 3 or 4 guys that do the art in this
All the
kind of way.
same,
You
yeah.
got 5 or 6 different culinary chefs that are making this kind of. No, it's like everybody in whatever setup they're in, even if they're in the same, music, visual arts, what have you, they all tend to bring out their own character of
Oh,
the
yeah.
art that they have.
Well,
And I've always found
I
that
think that
fascinating.
is an issue that a lot of places have, though.
Yeah.
Is maybe a place doesn't have as many artists, but maybe that's because they never really provided
Yeah.
that resource for them.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of us artists here, I think in our city, the reason a lot of us are self-taught. We were bored,
Yeah.
or we were not connected with the community, and we just created things because, or through a lot of us, especially in Shreveport, are very much about. We all went through the same things.
Yeah, there's
So
patterns of
yeah,
life y'all have lived. Definitely.
Yeah.
I was gonna say coming from a guy that lived in Kansas for 18 years, now has lived down here 18 years. It's like there's definitely some factors of being in this area that
there's a lot.
there's-
Louisiana's a little bit of its own thing.
y'all got a bingo card, and there's a lot of folks that go across it. I'll put it that way. That's the
This
best
is
metaphor
true.
I could come up with.
But here's the thing, though. Every artist here, especially in Arklatex, we try to work with each other. We try to help each other, and we all are unique. And I think we are very good at encouraging that uniqueness.
Yeah, I've noticed when we have those conversations with artists, they do understand the importance of the art, how it is, basically seen in their eyes and how it affects the community, everything like that. It's real good that people are so aware of that in the stuff that they bring to this community. And I think something that's great about your podcast, of course I'm going to gush on you, but something that I think is good is the fact that you do tend to, how do I put this? You kind of surgically explain the specific mediums that those individuals you bring on the show have, that they do have that unique factor, and you manage to kind of show it. You've had visual artists, you've had musical artists, but each one you have managed to not necessarily dissect, but you, through your interviews, bring out who they are that makes them themselves versus just musical artists from Shreveport number.
Well,
1, 2, 3,
every
4, 5,
artist is like my work. Their person, their character, they are more deep as a personality than most. And we can go to any community. I'm pretty sure I can step out of the Arklatex, go into a community and find artists that are just as unique. Because what artists are is we are a unique. We're experimental people. We are creating from our mind. We're creating something deep from our imagination, or something deep from how we see the world, and that goes all across the world.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't think that I feel like my goal with Architects Artistry is, why not take that and put a light on that person so we can see the person for who they are.
Yeah.
Because that's the difference between artistry and going to a different area than the Architects, is I'm trying to capture that person's personality and who they are
Absolutely.
on camera.
And again, I think a result of that, again, somebody that watches your show that is interested, we'll take music, for example, because there's a lot of different factors of that. But like somebody that works on music sees some stuff about like the the hip hop, rap, R&B scene, from Slive, Max Wan, just some to name a few. You can see the differences between those two artists through the conversation that you had. Again, it kind of opens up that people that are watching, it's like, hey, I'm kind of niche in what I do with this thing too, and that will bring more than just like, I'm just another X artist. I am the artist that does this, and I think that's good. Is that your stuff really promotes that?
To be an artist, you really have to like be yourself.
Yes, you do.
That's the thing that I think some people, they get lost. They think I should create just what people want to see.
Exactly.
But
which, on a professional front, that works.
To be an artist that is recognized,
there you go.
That is known and loved, you need to be who you are.
Yes.
You need to experiment and create art from within yourself, not completely from outside sources. I mean,
exactly.
We're all influenced, right? But you have to create from within yourself to create true art. Your true art, right? And that's the thing. But influence is a big thing. Max Swan, Slive, and all the music in our area, even across genres in our area, have some kind of flavor that is obviously a cultural flavor that is influenced by the area, by all of us, by each of us. And it doesn't matter what genre you're in. You got a little bit of Shreveport flavor when you grew up here playing music.
Absolutely, yeah. Again, you definitely see that.
Yeah, and that's something I love because you can also see, like, we all came from the same place.
Absolutely.
That's the thing about, like, community art and within a community, is there is a bit of influence that we take from each other, right? And, it's a beautiful thing from our area especially.
Absolutely. Well, for anybody that either wants to find your art or to reach out to you for Arklatex artistry or any other various needs to reach out to you, how do we get to your social medias or otherwise?
So, Brittney Hazelton, your last name.
I see.
Or Sizica, you can look it up on Facebook. You'll be able to see it on screen. I'll put it right down here.
Nice.
But you can follow me on Facebook there. I also have Instagram. It's Sizica_arts on Instagram. You can email me, Brittney.Hazelton@KSLA.com.
I see.
So there's various ways to get a hold of me and reach out. Even if you want to talk to me about something, reach out to me. I'd just like to hear what you have to say. And if you see any of my art and you want to buy it, that's a big thing. I am always
greatly appreciate it.
If you want me to put my art on a T-shirt, let me know. I'll put it on a T-shirt so you can buy it that way.
Coffee
Prints,
mugs.
I can do that.
I was gonna say
coffee mugs. Yeah.
There's a number of different art that Brittney has sold.
I've sold it on scrolls.
There we go.
Like art scrolls. I've sold prints. I've sold coffee mugs. I've sold a lot of T-shirts. People like T-shirts. And I've sold, obviously, my actual physical work, too.
Of course.
And I've done digital commissions and stuff like that.
Of course. I'm also going to add that you have sold wands at Agora Borealis, like witch wands. So that definitely does make you a professional wand maker. I have too, so I'm bringing that up because I get to flex on that, as you should as well. But, it's, again, good that all the mediums you've tried, all the experience that you've had with artists and everything has kind of produced this. And, of course, no surprise that I'm gushing on you for this, but I just, again, for having studied the community that I came into 18 years ago, knowing nothing about Shreveport or Louisiana outside of the fact that you lived in it, and I was madly in love with you at the time.
Hopefully still are. I am still madly in love with you.
Hey, okay, don't tell everybody. Come on, geez. But again, for 18 years, really understanding in the way that you've helped me see a way a community needs to grow in art and in other ways, I really feel like Shreveport has grown from the time that I've been here. The art, the artists, and again, whether you realize it or not, because I can't tell you the number of times you're like, I can't believe somebody came up to me and said that they're so happy with Arklatex artistry. And every time you're so surprised, but it's like, well, because you are bringing the outlet of, I guess, knowledge that these artists, that these arts, that these things exist.
I think it's
And
a
so,
duty. I think it should be the duty of any news organization
absolutely.
to also cover those things, and they don't do it like they used to.
They don't, unfortunately, that we could go into.
But at least KSLA is giving me the platform.
They are,
to
and
point at an artist and be like Andy Warhol at the time. Everybody was like Andy Warhol, and now and look how famous he got. Like
Absolutely.
you can't build, popular artists if you're not looking at them.
Yes,
it's
and
like
we can't know these things exist unless they are shined light upon. We know,
Exactly.
unfortunately, crime exists in the architect's artistry because there's enough coverage of that. But it is great to have something kind of
architects,
pierce
yeah.
through that says, hey, there's more to it. We've got art, we've got creation, we've got, all sorts of things
Music, food.
music, food, things that
Theater.
really bring a community the life and purpose it needs to have, I think.
I'm hoping eventually we can also pull in, some more artists from like Marshall and Texarkana and Magnolia and all those towns, Hope,
Absolutely,
Arkansas,
yeah.
maybe. I really want you guys to reach out to me because I want to learn about y'all's area. Yeah, y'all might be a little far because Architects is a pretty big place, but it doesn't mean I can't learn about it.
There
And
you
I would
go.
love to know. I would love to know. So if you're from one of those areas, definitely reach out to me, please.
Did you have any final thoughts? Or
No, but I think this was good. Thank you.
It was. Well, I do have one last question
Okay.
because I know you ask this for a lot of people on your show. What advice would you give to upcoming artists or even artists who, are starting out, trying to find their place, to the beginners into intermediate fields? What would you say to them?
I'm going to say exactly what I did is you just look at SHRAC or Bossier Arts Council or any of their local councils. Check out their pages. Check out their websites. Find an event. Find an event, an art event that looks interesting to you, and go to it. Talk to the people that are there. They're willing to talk to you, and artists are some of the easiest people to talk to, especially if you're a creative. You can have great conversations and start networking.
There you go.
Meet those people. Find out about the shows. Get connected and follow those pages because then you'll learn how to get into the community by following the councils, the art councils. And not just art councils. Find an art group. There are so many art groups, art meetings. Artists like to have meetings all the time. And just go to those things and interact. And not only will you grow as an artist in your technique by learning and seeing other artists work in person, but you'll also grow from the experience and learn how to communicate to your community.
Absolutely.
And I don't only suggest this for artists. I suggest this also for the community.
Yeah,
go to
just in
art
general,
openings.
yeah.
Go to the festivals we hold. Artists are like responsible for so many festivals
Oh, yeah.
and things that happen. Like the vendors there, festivals wouldn't be anything without these great vendors that are crafters, makers,
No, yeah,
and artists.
absolutely.
Like
it's so good to see the turnouts like that, where
Exactly.
we see vendors who,
you
know,
can't get homemade goods like that. You can't get
No, exactly.
handcrafted goods like that at Walmart. Go to these festivals and
Yeah.
meet those artists too.
That's the venue for their things.
Get their cards. Follow
yeah.
them on social media. And that includes artists to do that with each other too. Because, again, you can't grow in a community or as an artist in a community unless you actually learn about the community.
Absolutely.
And your area has something.
Oh,
you
yeah.
just have to look. And if it doesn't have something, then maybe you should create something. Start a monthly artist meeting. Put it on your community board. Put it somewhere. Make announcements on your city's little Facebook page. And make a meeting. Start pulling in the creatives because then you can be responsible for creating something.
Absolutely. And if you're not sure what's going in your Architects area, be sure to tune in every Saturday at 12 p.m. That's midday in order to get to the Architects Artistry Experience, where we will certainly let you know where art events are happening in your area.
Well, thank
Did I get
you,
the job?
Ryan. Yeah,
No.
no, it's my job. You
Of
can't
course.
have it.
Well, I feel like I did pretty good for you today. And again, any final anything for?
I'm
Well,
good.
Brittney, It was a wonder replacing you today. We will see if I get to continue long term or if you get to keep the actual job that you've been
I'm
keeping
pretty
so
sure
far.
it's fine.
So I'm not going to pass the interview.
No.
Ah, dang. All right. Well, again, Brittney, thank you very much. I look forward to your exhibition coming up, and
Hope to see you guys there.
yes, indeed.
Just
say double
try
the
to make it
pressure
to the
now.
opening. Make it to the opening reception. Support, if you can support me. It's always weird to ask, but artists have to do it.
You do.
Like, come out and just meet me and other artists.
Mm-hmm.
Like, especially if you didn't know about the community and you want to learn about it.
Spread your creativity when you come. Write down a character, some designs, ideas. It will be part of the Imaginarium. It will be a fun time.
Bye, guys. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching my interview with my husband about me, which is a little awkward. It's weird talking about myself in like that much. I'm used to, in having conversations, I'm one of those types of people. I like to relate to people. So like if I'm conversating with someone and they're just like, "Oh yeah, here's a story," and I'll be like, "Oh, well this happened to me. It's similar." It's my way of relating. I know some people get annoyed by it, but it's definitely weird when it's at this large of a scale. But again, thank you guys for stopping in and watching my show and checking out my articles. It means a lot to me, and I hope you guys can make it out to my opening reception. It, not just mine, but Frank Herbert's as well. Herbert's. I hope I'm saying that right. I'm sorry, Frank. But check out his is Southern Color and mine is Imaginarium. Um, again, we will have the box. Also, this took more effort and paid me $6 million. So, reference to the banana on the wall that sold for $6 million, just duct taped there. It's people don't realize that when I did this, I made a sticker of it. But the joke is that the drawing I did of it, the small watercolor I did of it, was more effort than taping a banana on a wall. And I don't see why I don't have $6 million. Anyways, well, guys, I look forward to seeing you if you make it there. If you could share this video, share the article, invite your friends to my event here. We got a pretty good amount of responses, so I'm hoping to see you guys all there. That'd be great. But it also would be very helpful to Beaux Arts Council. They need, get those attendance up. Again, it's October 2nd, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. at Beaux Arts Council, guys. Find the event page. Also, don't forget, you can follow me also on Instagram. It's Sizeka Art. I said arts, but it's Sizeka_art. You can follow me on Instagram. I have like a lot of like stuff that I do and things that are happening, but also my art gets posted here a lot, so you get to see that. Sometimes pictures with me and other artists, so that's fun. Check out my little. I like also make little animations, like this one right here, where it's just it's my Andy Warhol. This one actually will be sold. The drawing will be sold at Beaux Arts Council too during this exhibition. Yeah, I have a whole bunch. Some I even have some that are poetry. So like it'll be a picture of some of my art and then some poetry. But yeah, that's some of my digital stuff. Oh yeah, here's some of my poetry, and that's one of my eyes that I had spoken about earlier in the thing. But definitely check my Instagram out too, and then also main page. I participate more on Facebook than I do Instagram, but I still check Instagram. But find me on Facebook, give me a follow. I always am sharing work and local business stuff, local art stuff, and trying to have conversations with people there. Thank you again for stopping in. You can find more of my articles on KSLA.com under podcasts, and then go to artistry from there, and there's a page with all my articles and my video feeds. You can find us on YouTube. Architects Artistry playlist is on there if you look for it. Roku, Apple, Android, all these different streaming apps. You can find KSLA and find some of my content on there. Again, thank you guys for stopping and listening to me. I'll have a recap on this Wednesday at 11. And I'm see you guys next Saturday at noon. Goodbye.